Winning Shot family. Yo, man, it's been a long time since I've been on this podcast. I'm trying to count the days. Let's see. A long time indeed. I've been on this podcast. Listen, it's John, Herbie J. I'm so glad to be back with y'all here at the Winning Shot podcast. I got Collin, I got Hundo. We are back. We better than ever. Fellas, man, let's get right into it, shall we? First of all, it's been a minute, like I said, since we last recorded an episode. How have y'all fellas been? This is now the 4th of March. So we are in the month of March, also better known as Women's History Month. And so me and Hundo will, of course, continue on in our next episodes to, of course, go over women's history and expound upon all the great things that women are doing in the world. But before we get to that point, let's talk about, once again, how y'all fellas are doing. Anything on your mind this week? And let's chop it up. What's going on? What's new?
Man, I'm feeling blessed, bro. Has the year been going by fast, y'all? Like, we almost in the end of the first quarter. Like,
bro, it's been flying. No lie,
man. Feeling blessed, bro. A lot of sports stuff happened this weekend. Excited to talk to y'all about some of the stuff that's going on, man.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm doing good, bro. Can't complain. Weekend was good. Just chilled. Ready to go, man.
Yes, sir. It's glad to hear. Man. Man, let me tell you. I feel like I talk about me and my fiance every time I get back on the podcast, but I'm going to update y'all anyway because I got to. Listen, me and the fiance have secured a venue, secured a date. We got some vendors on the way. We got the photographer, the videographer, the bartender, looking at some other decor and stuff like that. Let me tell you, it feels like a weight is being lifted off my shoulders. Because
big
now,
money, big money. I'm
gonna put my Zelle, my Cash App, and any other forms of donations that you may want to provide to me. I'm gonna put them in the chat. I'm gonna put them in every comment box below, so you all can feel free to, give to the man of God. You feel what I'm saying? But listen, it's a wonderful time. I love you, fiance, baby Lex. I love you so much. This is a wonderful time. This is a very wonderful time here that we have as we plan this wedding. So keep me in your prayers as we continue on this journey here to marriage. But yeah, cut that off. Let's get to this. This past weekend, the biggest, I feel like, thing that we talked about was the fight that happened this past weekend. So tell me about Tank, Mr. Davis, fighting. I didn't even know this. I am not gonna hold you. I had no idea who he was before he fought Tank. I think they call him Roach. Hundo, you may have his government name. I just know Buddy is Roach.
Lamont Roach.
There we go. I thought his name was Roach. I guess I shouldn't think, but his name was Roach. But talk to me, man, about the fight that took place this past weekend, because as we know, or as I know, Tank was undefeated before he came into this fight. And so he went into this fight, I wouldn't say cocky. However, if I'm not mistaken, Mr. Roach came up a weight class to fight him. So talk to me about how y'all felt about the fight, because I know y'all are more into the boxing scene than I am, for sure. I just like to watch people get beat up. So y'all tell me what y'all thought about the boxing match, and did it live up to the expectations and the hype that y'all thought it had behind it?
Yeah, man. Before I pass it off to Hundo, man, I'm gonna just say, before we talk about Lamont and Tank, shout out to Gary Antoine Russell, man. I watched that fight. Buddy is a dog. I think he's lightweight, Hundo, right? Yeah.
140.
Yeah, he's gonna dominate that for a while. Like, Valenzuela did not have a chance, but he was eating. In terms of the fight with Lamont and Tank, bro, I thought it was a great fight. It definitely capped off the weekend well. I think Lamont got hold, honestly. Like, I think he definitely won in my book. Obviously, I'm not really into like the scoring and stuff, but just from the eye test alone, it seemed like they were kind of neck and neck starting off, and then at the end, like, Lamont took off. And I think a lot of people, if you like look at the numbers like in the betting circles, nobody expected Lamont to go 12. And just the fact that he was able to, like, stand 12 and compete, it was definitely one of those like respectable moments. So shout out to Lamont. I'm excited to see what his rematch is going to look like. I'm curious to know if Tank is actually going to follow through and fight him. But it was great for boxing, because I feel like this sport needed like the hype, with not just with the black community, but I feel like people at large were kind of looking forward to Tank just dominating. And then now that they have like a little storyline going on, I think it'll only hype up the next
Yeah, like Colin said, shout out to Gary Antoine Russell, man. Whole boxing family. He had the brother in the corner as his trainer, man. You love to see it, man. Doing it for pops, man. But yeah, he gonna be a good fighter at 140. Um, the belt's starting to rotate around at 140. Um, they got some good upcoming fights coming up at 140. Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia back in action. To back in action. So that 140 division definitely gonna be interesting to see moving forward. Definitely keep your eye out on that. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Gary Antoine Russell loses his belt the next fight, but he is a dog. He is a dog. That's just how deep that division is. No disrespect to Gary Antoine Russell because he's a dog. The Tank and Roach fight, I'm with you, Colin, man. I think Lamont Roach should have won that one. Now everybody talking about the ninth round knockdown, take a knee situation, but if you look at the early rounds, man, I had Roach winning two of those first three rounds. I don't think Tank was active enough in winning those rounds. Like you look at the numbers and the boxing stats, like Roach was outlanding him, he was out jabbing him. I don't see how you can give two or three of those early rounds to Tank when he just wasn't active enough. Like Lamont had him on his back foot. Lamont was the one being aggressive, trying to go after and trying to hit Tank. So I gave two of those first three rounds to Roach. And then the ninth round knockdown slash knee. Like you can't take a knee in boxing.
You can't.
Can't you
Facts.
can't go back? You can't go back to your corner and get your face wiped unless the referee stops it and tells you to do that. You can't do that. So I mean, the New York Boxing Association said that it was a technical issue in getting the instant replay, so they had to go with what the referee said in the during the fight. So if they were able to get that instant replay in that situation, probably would have got ruled a knockdown, and he would have lost the point. And with him losing that point, Lamont would have won on two of the judges' scorecards.
Yeah.
So I definitely think Roach got robbed. Um, they both have a respect for each other. They're cool like outside of the ring. And I think that
Do they? Hold on. I
no
saw
no
some.
no
It
they
might be
no
the other one.
no
They like best
no
friends. Yeah.
no they really are like they cool outside of the ring like for real like I was watching a Breakfast Club interview and Lamont Roach was like if we weren't fighting like he's the homie
Yeah.
that's what Lamont Roach said so them boys tight. They came up in amateurs together. I don't think Tank was necessarily taking him lightly. I think it was a respect between both of them. And I think that with Tank being pushed the way he was during that fight, I think that the next time around it's going to be different. Um, Tank got that left hand. Lamont Roach pretty much took that away from him. That's all you have is a left hook or a left uppercut. I'm gonna be looking for it all night, and that's what Roach was doing. He was taking it away. So
Yeah.
I think in the next fight, Tank definitely has to do a better job of setting up the left hand, using the right hand more, jabbing more. It's just giving him something to think about. So
Yeah.
I think in the next fight, it's gonna be different. We're gonna see Tank step on the gas, get going sooner. Because even he said after the fight, he was like, I didn't do a good job of getting going, getting active when I was supposed to. He
Yeah.
even said that. So we're gonna see a different version of Tank next time he step in that ring.
Yeah.
That's real. I agree, man. I enjoyed the fight, honestly. Like you said, for me watching, I watched him Tank fights before. So this was a different version, I feel like, of Tank than I've seen versus in regards to like his competition. So that gives a huge shout out to once again to Mr. Roach, man. I think that he did a wonderful job in preparation for this bout. I think he obviously took it seriously from jump. And I think he wanted to show that even though he came up a weight class to fight Davis, Tank, I think that he wanted to show not only the world, but like Tank, like this ain't sweet. Like we might be cool for real, but this ain't that for real. So I think that Tank not say took him sweet, but I think he necessarily wasn't also prepared for what he got in the ring, and I think it showed several times throughout the fight. I think he was kind of just taken aback, like, oh, he really like, trying to give me some work for real. So I think in their rematch, which we'll hopefully get to see sooner rather than later, that these two will come out once again and really lock in even more. So hopefully get a better tank, more focused tank, and hopefully Mr. Roach comes back and prepares even harder again and comes back in the same kind of energy. What I would hate for to happen is that we get a beat down next time, because I feel like for me, as once again, like I said, I'm not a super fan of boxing, but as a fan of boxing, to see that, I'll be like, all right, like, what's the first was the first fight stage? Like, I want to see us the same kind of energy from both parties, but more energy from Davis's side coming to the next fight. So, man, I'm excited for it. I love to see, like I said, the big fights. I don't necessarily pay attention to all the smaller fights as much, like I said, like y'all do. But I like to see Tank because once again, he's a Baltimore guy. So I like to keep up with his career and keep up with what he's doing in the sport of boxing. So, man, shout out to Tank, shout out to Mr. Roach, and hopefully, like I said, we continue to see more of this going forward, man. I think it's gonna be dope to see. But let's go ahead and transition, man, because we got some NBA news to catch up on as well, man. Because we haven't talked about that in a little minute either. So the latest thing that I remember happening in the NBA at this current time that we talked about, that we had to update it on, was the big trade between LA and the Mavericks. And the trade, once again, if you had been living under a rock for some period of time, was Luka Doncic was traded to the LA Lakers. In that trade, Anthony Davis was traded to the Dallas Mavericks. So some things have happened since that time. When the trade happened, LA was not where they are in playoff standing. Dallas was a little bit higher than when they were in playoff standing, and they were playing a little bit better as a team. So since the trade has gone down, Luka has turned it up. I think he's found his spot in LA. Him and Bron are working really well chemistry-wise out from what I've seen, the games that I've watched. And they're now, if I'm not mistaken, like 2 or 3 in the Western Conference. Yeah, they're 2 seed currently in the Western Conference. And they were like 7 before the trade. So if you are keeping notes and keeping track, the trade has worked out really well for LA. And on the counter side, Anthony Davis and Dallas won. Anthony Davis started off game 1 with Dallas, and he started really good. Then he got injured. And I don't think he's played since. I do not think he's played a game since he got that injury. And most recently, Kyrie Irving, man, he just tore his ACL last night. So that pretty much effectively ends Dallas' season. And so we have to go back and now talk about this trade again, now that, like I said, we are seeing the residuals of what has happened. Now, can you predict the injury? No. However, as Dallas fans, they're looking like you traded away Luka Doncic and left us with injury-prone man, Mr. Glass. And then now Kyrie is hurt and doubt for the rest of the season. So once again, like I said, I feel like Dallas' season is essentially over, and now they have to go watch in agony as Luka Doncic is now the 2 seed with LA and gets to go to the playoffs and live out his dreams of playing with LeBron, and they have to sit there and suffer as they watch and see if their team can get a lottery pick in the upcoming draft. So let's talk about it, man, as we update your mindset on this draft, and now talk to me from a standpoint of GMs about, okay, am I a winner in this trade? Am I a loser in this trade? Y'all, we kind of talked about this offline about Nico, who was one of the GMs out in Dallas, and how he's looked now, how he's perceived after that trade. So y'all talk to me a little bit now, like I said, after following this Kyrie torn ACL news, about how y'all think the state of the Dallas Mavericks is, how you think the state of the fan base is, and then on the flip side of that, talk to me about LA and can they sustain the success that they're having right now as the 2 seed in the West?
They lost. Nico lost the trade. Like, it's clear. Like, there's no rebuttal anymore because he literally told the media that they had a 3 to 4 year window in terms of what they were trying to do with AD and Kyrie and either pairing them with another star. And there are some reports, because it happened later in the season, that Kyrie might not just miss the rest of this year, but he might also miss part of next year. So, and we know what AD by himself looks like. It looks like New Orleans. And I don't know at this age if he's able to sustain a whole team to the playoffs by himself. And I feel like another loser in this that nobody's really talking about is Klay Thompson, because during the summer, like the Lakers were going after Klay, and he left the Warriors, and both of those teams are going to be in the playoffs while he sits at home in Cancun. And that's if they make the play in, which I doubt, because after Kyrie is gone, I don't foresee them winning. And this is the problem with the trade. And I know that there's been some other speculations that this is having to deal with the ownership and whatnot. But this is the risky run. Like, you really banked your entire success on two brittle players, and now that AD's out and Kyrie's out, what is the direction? Because I'm pretty sure Kyrie's up for an extension soon. Do you re-sign him, or do you just kind of start over? And it's no guarantee that AD is going to want to be there. So I really just felt like he, leveraged his entire future on two guys that really have been unreliable. Even post Braun, with Kyrie, and obviously throughout AD's career. So it's unfortunate, man. It sucks that it falls on Nico, because I feel like this was more of an ownership play, but really got to deal with what you decided to do, and this is your bed that you decided to lay in. So I feel like for the Lakers, it's the opposite. Like, they got a generational superstar like Luka and LeBron with two cerebral players on the court. You just figure it out. And I think even with the move they were trying to make with Mark Williams, it really didn't matter, because I feel like Jackson Hayes is giving you some good minutes. And I think that team is gelling together. JJ is figuring out how the two lineups are going to work. And I think you can see a resurgence in Brian, because he gets a chance to take a breath. Like, he doesn't feel like he has to be on the court 24/7 in order for the team to win. He could put some of that trust in Luka, and I think that is giving him the necessary break, quote unquote, that he needs headed into the playoff run. And it's crazy to see him doing it at 40. But I really feel like in terms of now, they have a chance, in order to match up with a lot of these teams at the top. And if they stay at that number 2 seed, I think that they'll either play the Thunder. I don't foresee them going past 2, because the Nuggets are 3. But the Thunder are still young, and with Luka and LeBron, they've both gone to the finals. So I think everybody was looking for next year, but they could definitely make a run this year. So we'll see, man. Yeah, and I think league's in good hands, but really the sad thing is the Mavs had to be the losers in this in order for that to happen. So that's all I got to say.
I don't feel bad for them though, because once again, you brought this trade to me.
Yeah,
like it's one thing if like LA was like, "Oh, we about to fleece y'all." Nah, that's not what happened. Like, you offered me $1 million, and so I don't feel bad for you now that you're broke. Like,
yeah.
that's not my problem. Like,
No. I ain't saying like this regime. I'm saying like as an organization, because I felt like people were making the comparisons like Luka and like the same kind of feel with Dirk Nowitzki, and then they just made the finals last year. Like,
yeah,
people were thinking that they had a good roster at least to compete this year. So I feel like in terms of the organization and the fans, it's like, dang, it sucks that you have a sorry front office that made moves like this. So that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm with you, Colin. The Mavericks definitely lost this trade, and it's clear. Dude, you trade for get hurt the first game, and then Kyrie goes down with this torn ACL. That's tough. As far as the direction of the Mavericks, man, I think they'll be fine to make the play-in still. I don't trust Phoenix, who's the next team below them. They got a whole bunch of drama going on over there. They're talking about possibly blowing up that team in the offseason. So I doubt them boys really playing hard for real. They probably just trying to get to the end of the season so they can kill all the noise and go ahead and blow up the team. So they should be fine. The way Minnesota's been playing recently, they've also been struggling. So they could easily be 10th, 9th. The Mavericks will be fine in the West. Could get up to 7th. I mean, they only a game back of the Clippers, who's in 7th, 17 and a half games back of OKC. So I definitely think the Mavericks still have a shot. I don't think they're just going to throw in the towel. AD should be back relatively soon. And even if he's not, I think that roster is good enough to win games in the NBA. Like, that's not a trash roster at all. Just need other people just to step up. So we'll see. I think they'll be fine. For the Lakers, like I said, definitely won that trade. Luka been balling. JJ been having the team playing good defense as of late. So I think they'll be fine. Like you mentioned, Collin, Jackson Hayes has been playing at a higher level, getting more minutes, rolling to the basket hard. Dorian Finney-Smith playing defense at a high level. So I think they'll be fine. I think the Lakers will be fine. They're currently in second, 11 games behind OKC. They're not catching OKC. And I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know how they match up with like a Denver. I'm probably still leaning towards Denver to win that game, win that matchup, win that series against the Lakers, but we'll see. We'll see. Not gonna count the boys out.
You mentioned something a minute ago, and it made me think of this question. But like, do you think it's the change is coming for the old guard to like retire and like hand over the reins to the young bulls? Because you mentioned a minute ago the Phoenix blowing it up when they got KD, they got Beal, they got Book. You know what I'm saying? And then we just saw the big injury of Kyrie, AD. You know what I'm saying? Like they got Klay Thompson, like all these old heads. Like, when they still in the league hooping, but like it's I mean, we might have kind of touched on this before, but like it's time for the boys to start thinking about hanging it up. Like, I think that last Olympic that we saw with all the old heads out there, obviously that was the last Olympics we're going to see with all of them together. But even in the NBA, do y'all think that now it's time with Luka in LA? You know what I'm saying? We got Ant out in Minnesota. You know what I'm saying? We got the young bulls who are stepping up and becoming the next stars. Like, at what point do y'all think that the old heads are gonna be like, all right, it's time to hang it up? Because a lot of them, I feel like, are past the point where like Collin mentioned a minute ago, it's not really like they may do it by themselves no more. AD is what, 30? He think I'd be at least 29, 30 now. You know what I'm saying? They're like all these guys who were considered old heads in the league now came in at 18, 19 out of college. You know what I'm saying? And so they were fresh, but now they're like 30, 32, Clay like 35, Steph like 36, Braun is 40. Like, it's time for them boys to like start thinking about after the league. You know what I'm saying? And I know like that competitive spirit is still there, obviously, in them, because that's why they're still playing the game. But with these injuries racking up, Embiid, he's another one that came in, 18, 19, and now he's 30 something and got knee problems and really needs to go ahead and think about hanging it up as well. Like, do y'all think that time is coming sooner rather than later? Or do y'all think that they're gonna try to like stick it out so they can't play no more? Because once again, I feel like right now the benchmark is LeBron, obviously. But I've said this before, I'm gonna say it again. I don't think a lot of them guys that I just mentioned are gonna make it to 40 and playing in the NBA. Playing in the NBA, they're not making it to 40. Like, Braun is just built different. He's the outlier. But I don't think a lot of them are doing that. So like, how long does Steph have left? You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, you can still shoot, but like, I think if you talking about championships, like, are we talking about just playing the game and getting a check? Are we talking about competing for championships? So when we think about that, like, how much longer do y'all think them fellas have in that kind of mode?
So I'm gonna go off of what Collin basically just said with Braun. I'm gonna look at Braun and KD specifically, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, like Collin said, with Braun, you get a loop, you feel rejuvenated.
Yeah.
He can finish this year. He could probably play another year or two, maybe at a high level, competing for a championship, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think if in a situation like that, you good. You keep going. When you got that young gun that's next to you, like, can push you forward, give you a little break, and take over when need be, you good to go. Now for KD, they had a clip of him on the Draymond. He was on Draymond's podcast, and they were asking him about his time in Phoenix, and he was like, he just want to end on his terms, whatever the case is, he wanted to end on his terms. So I think with a player like him, KD loved to hoop.
Yeah.
So wherever he could go and hoop at a high level and still compete at a high level, I think he's gonna go out there and try to hoop. And like the problem in Phoenix is not necessarily KD. It's not necessarily him. He's still playing at a high level. So I think he can go to a different team. Like I said, get rejuvenated with a younger player or join an older player. Maybe like I don't know their cap situation, but if he were to team up with like a Giannis or like a Dame or something like that, if something like that were to happen, something crazy. But if he's able to surround himself and still compete for a championship, KD's still gonna go out there and hoop. I think KD is one of those players that possibly could hoop till he's 40 just because he loved the game, just because he's so skilled.
Yeah.
I don't think his game is ever going to really decline and take that huge of a step. It's going to be out there looking trash.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Uh-oh. You down, brother. You down. Oh, man. Nope. It's okay. It's okay.
And Mike did,
Yeah.
brother.
Yeah, I'm dead in the water right now. While he's working on that, I agree, Hunter. I think that, yeah, you got to find somebody. I think that now Braun and LA have created the blueprint that you're going to have to work with a young bull to get it. Because, like I said, I just don't think that obviously the OGs. I'm gonna call them the OGs. I was about to call them something crazy. I think the OGs are getting to a point now where like they can't, as we seeing with Kyrie and Kyrie and AD playing together. Like I think when they're healthy, yeah. But the issue is they're like mid-30s, so it's like it's hard for y'all to stay healthy. Y'all been doing this for so long. Like I don't know if y'all gonna be able to get it done by yourselves. I think they have a drive to do it and show that they can still do it, but I don't know if it's possible for them to do it personally, based off what I've seen. Once again, with them being injured, a lot of these old heads have been injured. Braun, once again, is the outlier. Braun has, just done things nobody else has ever done at the age of 40, and you know what I'm saying. So like, um, I don't know if I don't know. Like you said, KD, if he can get hooked up, I just trying to think who he could get hooked up with. Like who's gonna have that cap? Who's gonna have like? Could I see him in Minnesota? I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't think that Boston's an option for him. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm trying to think who also has like young superstars. You can't just say I'm gonna go push with a young bull. You know what I'm saying? Like KD ain't coming to Charlotte and having the same success that he's having, and you know what I'm saying. And they're not being super successful in Phoenix. But like it's just something you got to be in the right situation and have the right young bull to help you out. You know what I'm saying? So like, yeah, I think Braun definitely got blessed from Dallas's stupidity. So it's gonna be quite interesting to me going forward to see how some of these guys fare out and like, are we gonna hang it up? Like I think your pride is. It reminds me kind of like Aaron Rodgers and how he went with the Jets and got injured. It was kind of like, bro, like it might be time to hang it up. But I think that pride that like I don't want to go out like that is gonna try to push them. And then we saw this season that he didn't do anything still, even as a fully healthy Aaron Rodgers. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so it's like now it's like, is it hurting your legacy? You know what I'm saying? I think, and that's what you gotta start thinking about too. Like, am I hurting myself from continuing to play? You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I still got love for the game, and I think, I feel like your love for the game is never gonna diminish. But at what point do I look at myself in the mirror and say, okay, I'm not who I was at 19, 20. You know what I'm saying? I'm 34, 35, 36, whatever the age may be. I've been in the league 14, 15 years. And so, like, am I doing more of a detriment to myself and my legacy versus me just still hooping? You know what I'm saying?
And we talked about that last week with Diana Taurasi too, though. But like,
yeah,
that's another conversation we got to have. The old people got to know when to hang it up.
Yeah, that's what
I'm saying.
Know when to hang
it up, bro. You got to know when to hang it up. I'm gonna leave it at that for now. But go ahead, Collin.
Nah, my mic working? Y'all can hear me?
Yeah, you
good. All right, good. Yeah. Nah, but John, back to your point about the football. Like, I feel like the analogy I'm thinking about is like with Travis Kelce, right? So, like with Travis, even with the Super Bowl, you saw like when teams game plan for him, he's not able to get open anymore like he once was. But if you had a number one receiver out there that people are scared of, he's still Travis Kelce, and he can still get you a couple catches. And I feel like that's exactly where you have a lot of these stars at today, where if they're called to get 27 and win you the game, I don't know if a lot of these stars can do that anymore. But like we said with Braun, like I think even with KD, if he has a number one, an alpha, that he just needs to get 27 and not have to put the team on his back, I think a lot of stars can still play. Like I think we're even seeing that with Steph right now, like because he got that jolt with Jimmy, like Steph is back to Steph, and people still have to worry about Steph the same way they have to worry about Jimmy. But all before it was just all Steph, and I don't think that was feasible for stars, especially with this new second apron, where like you're kind of restricted with the building super teams and the amount of cap you have in order to dedicate to your luxury. So yeah, it's just really more so about like how the league is going in terms of where Adam Silver wants it to go in terms of more parity. But overall, still think that these stars can give you a bucket, honestly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm with you. I'm with you.
that's real. That's real, man. Speaking to your Travis Kelsey point, it's like just because you can do it, does that mean that you should do it? You know what I'm saying? Like, is my 2 or 3 catches really gonna be meaningful? Like in the grand scheme of things, or am I really playing decoy? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I said, I think, and we saw it with Travis. Travis's number declined this past season. You know what I'm saying? And so like, at what like we said a minute ago, it's like, eh, like am I just now? Travis is different once again because I mean, Kansas City's gonna compete for a championship every year. You know what I'm saying? Like, but when I think about it in terms of like an Embiid, like PG, you know what I'm saying? Like them two together, and like Hundo mentioned this as we talked about it earlier, but yeah, they haven't necessarily played together as healthy people. But once again, my niggas, you gotta be healthy to play together, and that's the problem. So it's like, I don't know. I keep going back and forth, and like, I don't know, man. Do I hang it up or do I try to find some help? So it's gonna be interesting going forward. Speaking of young bulls, let me make another transition. Because as y'all know, we're in this phase of the NFL right now. We're in draft season. Um, and so we got all the young bulls here we just finished the NFL Combine this past weekend. And one of the biggest storylines that came out of this, obviously, has been the quarterbacks. As you know, teams are, of course, always quarterback needy because some teams just always need a quarterback. Um, yeah, I mean, it's the truth. It's crazy because I feel like it's usually always the same teams that need a quarterback. They can just never figure it out. One of which is Cleveland. Tennessee's another one. I mean, you got the Raiders, the Jets. Like, you got just certain teams that who
Giants.
Giants. Yeah, it's just certain teams that really just can't ever figure out that quarterback situation, and is crazy. So thinking about this upcoming NFL draft, I said that to say this past weekend, it's been interesting because we got Shedeur Sanders and we got Cam Ward, who are the top current for most scouts. Those are the top 2 current quarterback prospects coming into the league. And so a lot of the reports and things that have been talked about and saying that, who's gonna be number 1, who's gonna be number 2, where they're gonna go, our team's gonna trade up, so there's been speculation that the Giants are gonna try to trade up to the 1 pick and try to trade with Tennessee. There's been speculation that, of course, the Browns are ready to select the quarterback and move on from Deshaun Watson. The Jets are talking about, saying we need a quarterback. The Raiders, are trying to decide if they want to go get Aaron Rodgers or pay Matthew Stafford. Or there's just been a lot of speculation as it comes to these quarterbacks. But I wanted to kind of more specifically talk about right now the state of how some of these quarterbacks are being perceived right now. And I know we had a kind of offline conversation about this, but Shedeur, once again, coming into this draft, at one point, he was being looked at as a top 5 pick, top 3 pick, to be honest with you. It was him and Cam Ward and then Travis Hunter. And so now we're looking at it, and it's like people are saying, well, Shedeur might fall down draft boards for a variety of reasons. And, there's been a lot of this and that kind of with the conversation of quarterbacks. So let me ask y'all this first of all. We talked about him not participating in the combine, more specifically. Do y'all think that that's going to have a negative effect on his draft stock? And is that playing a part into it? Or do y'all think that who he is playing a more bigger part into it, for one? And then we're going to talk about the combine a little bit too, because there was some things we got to discuss there as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think, him not participating did contribute to that, but I feel like it's not even that he didn't participate, it's how he didn't participate. Because I mean, like, even just his personality, he is usually the biggest one in the room. If Travis is not there, and I think that's just the way he carries himself, and I think a lot of people are intimidated by that. So it was the Shedeur show Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And he definitely spoke his mind. I remember there was like a quote saying that if he comes, the culture is going to have to change. And I think that a lot of these GMs, a lot of these scouts are kind of intimidated by that, because what I interpret that as is like the same way he did Jackson State, the same way he did Colorado. It implied that he was coming to change the culture with his father. And I think a lot of these guys are like, man, we draft you and we suck again. ESPN, Fox Sports, CBS Sports, they're all going to be speculating rumors. How long is Deion going to stay at Colorado? When are they going to get to X organization? Oh, the plane was here. Deion spoke to this team. Because I believe that Deion is kind of like a LeVar Ball, and that's not no disrespect, but I think he is very much involved in his son's success, and he wants to make sure that he remains successful even if he's not there. And one thing we know about Deion is that he's not going to take mediocrity as an answer. So he's going to want to make sure that they're dominating at every level. And if it's the coach's fault, Deion's not going to shy away from that. And a lot of teams don't want that drama. A lot of people don't want that kind of scrutiny and that microscope. And so a lot of teams are going to pass on him just because they don't want to deal with that.
That's facts.
Guess you fine with being sorry.
Some people are, honestly.
They
want to keep their job.
I mean, yeah, and we see that every year though. We saw with the Giants. They were fine with paying Daniel Jones out over Saquon. You know what I'm saying? We saw it with the Titans. I mean, they were fine with trading AJ Brown. They were fine with drafting Will Levis. I mean, like, people just make terrible decisions sometimes as GMs, and I find it so crazy that a lot of people have these jobs. Like, it just, to me, this doesn't make sense how you continue to fail over and over and over again. Like, honestly, the Jets failed a lot of times. They drafted Zach Wilson even when he came out. I was like, bro, like, why would you draft him? I mean, in that particular class, at least you had Justin Fields. There was somebody else that they had, like, they could have picked over him. And I was like, you picked Zach Wilson. Like, they picked him like number 2 overall. It was crazy. I was like, that's the guy? I didn't get it. So teams do this every year. The Raiders, I mean, the only reason once again that they even got an F-. I wish I could give them something lower than an F- for how bad they are. But the only reason they got the minus was because they drafted Brock Bowers, and he was, I mean, a baby demigod at tight end. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's the only thing they even got an F- on my board. So it's like you had opportunity to try to trade up for a quarterback. 2 years in a row, they had opportunities because it's CJ Stroud. They've had these guys that have been speculated to come to Vegas to try to save them because they just haven't had a quarterback, and they refuse, just refuse to like try to do anything to be good. Like, I don't know. And hopefully now that Tom Brady, and speaking of Vegas in particular, that he has some influence and some capital in the team, that he's taking some what's the word I want to use? Let's just say he's using his ownership stake properly. How about that? Yes, his authority and his influence to say, hey, I'm a winner. I would like to continue to win, please. So yeah, man, this whole draft process is always very interesting to me, because we get to see these young bulls come out of school and compete and really try to put on for these teams, and like the teams have to make these decisions. And so, like I said, I think this Shedeur, this is my opinion, I think this Shedeur is going to be decent in the league. Do I think he's going to be like MVP? That has to be seen. But I do think that he can, as he talked about, change a culture. But why? Because he's done it. Like, he's been good everywhere he's been. Like, it's not like he's been sorry. I don't personally think that Shedeur has been at Colorado and Jackson State and been sorry. Has his O-line's been terrible? Yes, they have. But I think when Shedeur is playing good ball, he's a solid quarterback. And so it makes sense that he's getting the attention as he rightfully should outside of his father's name as an NFL prospect. To me, that's how I feel.
Question time.
Oh, okay. Like, I love it. Talk to me.
So a team like the Giants, right?
Yeah.
Who don't have a good offensive line. Do you draft Shedeur? Knowing that he isn't good behind a good or bad offensive line?
Yes. I draft Shedeur because, once again, I have no quarterback right now. For one. That's my thing, Hundo. Like, if I don't draft Shedeur, what am I gonna do? With the 3 or the 4 pick. Mm-hmm. Draft a lineman. You draft a lineman, but don't have no quarterback, and then what? Like, what am I going to do? You've already lost out on the Matthew Stafford sweepstakes. That was something that they were thinking about.
Out there, Justin Fields out there, Russell Wilson out there.
Hold on. We've seen these guys that you're naming in the NFL. We know that they're not the answer.
Hey, Sam Darnold was balling last year.
Bro,
But
the
see, this is the
Vikings.
thing. It's gonna be Shedeur on a rookie contract versus Sam
Exactly.
Darnold. You got to pay him.
I
That's
gotta
two
pay
different
him.
quarterbacks.
Exactly. So it's like, am I gonna pair up Shedeur Sanders with a young Malik Neighbors? Heck yeah, I am. Heck yeah, I am.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna go pay some linemen somewhere because I got bread now. I can go spend in free agency. So I'm
And
gonna go pay some.
to your question, though, Hundo, nobody said like Washington's O line was good, but a quarterback just changed that. Like people, I feel like
Bingo.
having a good quarterback, it can get you at least 2 wins. Like it can cover a lot of your mistakes on the offensive line and defensive line. So yes, they
And
have problems, right?
Shedeur
We have
and
seen this.
Jaden are different.
You said what?
Shedeur and Jaden are different.
Different in what way though? Because when you talk about culture shifting, once again, like coming into this, into
I'm
last year's
talking.
draft. Hold
I'm
on.
talking
Coming
about
into
talent.
Yeah, but okay, but to be talented, you also have to change the culture. Like you can't like there's a lot of dudes that come into the league that are talented, but they still suck. Like you gotta also have a culture shift in you, bro. Like when CJ Stroud came into Houston, Houston sucked. But because he came in with his coach, I mean, D'Amico played a part of this as well. But like, CJ came in with a swagger, came in talking about the Lord, came in like him and Will Anderson, you know what I'm saying, with 2 and 3, came in and was like, "Yo, we gonna switch this around." They did that. Jaden once again, he wasn't necessarily coming out of college as hyped as this culture shifting guy. That wasn't his testimony. That wasn't his portion, at least to my remembrance and what I remember him telling people and people talking about him. Like people weren't necessarily saying that about Jaden coming in. Like it was overwhelmingly favorite that Caleb was going to come in and change the culture, do this and that, and he's ultra talented. So that's an example I'm giving you. Like you can be ultra talented, but if you don't have it in you, you just don't got it in you. Shedeur, going back to him, has shown that this young man can go to places that are historically terrible. I mean, Jackson State. Let's keep it a band. Before Dion got there, before Shedeur and the boys got there, like they just were not a good program. You know what I'm saying? And once again, even with the terrible O-line that he had for the entire his duration at Jackson State, like he was still able to make something shake. Yes, him and Travis played phenomenally together, but once again, they had to change the culture of that for that kind of stuff to happen. You know what I'm saying? He had to make a lot of stuff happen outside the pocket. Coming into Colorado sucked. They're like 1-11 before Dion got there. So once again, coming in, when Dion shifted everything around and brought in his son and brought in his Louis with him. You know what I'm saying? Like you had to do that. So I think you have to have that in you. Once again, it got to be in you. It got to if it ain't in you, you can be talented as you want to be, but it just ain't gonna work out. Once again, CC, what I just talked about with Caleb Williams. So I think that Shedeur can bring what he has already done, as he's already been saying, into a franchise like the freaking New York Jets. Honestly, if he was to New York Jets, the Jets become kind of scary. In my personal opinion, they already have a plethora of weapons on their team. They just couldn't seem to get nothing together. They still got sauce. They done paid Quentin Williams. You know what I'm saying? Like their defense is stacked with guys. Their offense, they still got Garrett Wilson. They got Breece Hall. Their O-line needs some work. But as an organization, I think the Shedeur can come in once again and pipe them boys back up to where they were pre-Aaron Rodgers.
All right, so question, and this is, crazy thought, but I keep seeing on ESPN and all these articles that everybody is giving Shedeur a second round grade, saying that he's not a first round quarterback. Like, do y'all think that it's one of these top teams leaking that information because they want to pair Travis with Shedeur?
So you're saying like
I don't think he's slipping all the way to the second round.
he definitely is slipping into the second round. He's still going top. He's still going top 10 at the bare minimum. If we drop past 10, it's some hate going on. It's some serious hate going on if we drop past 10. It's too many quarterback needy teams in that first 10 teams that need a quarterback. Once again, the Raiders in the top 10, Tennessee in the top 10, Cleveland in the top 10. You only got Cam Ward ahead of you. Who am I picking? Jackson Dart? I don't have faith in Jackson
Know
Dart.
the country we live in, man. I'm just saying.
I mean, yes, this is true. This is true, bro. But once again, I think about how hungry teams were for quarterbacks last year. If Bo Nix and what's buddy name, JJ McCarthy, and these kind of guys are getting drafted in the top 15 picks of last year's draft, there's no way Shedeur can get picked in the top 10. There's no way. And
Is there any team?
Huh?
Is there any team with the top pick that has another pick later in the first that you know?
Yeah, I wanna say maybe
One of them definitely does. I gotta check the draft
I'm
real
about
quick.
to look. I got
Okay.
you.
Because that's the only thing I can think. Because like Travis, Shedeur hasn't done anything to warrant people making him slip. So I'm just
That's what
like,
I'm saying.
maybe this is a conspiracy where they like Shedeur wants to be with Travis, and like they're trying to leak this information to make sure one of them falls. I don't know. I'm just
I don't think that. I think that their time together is going to be over until they get out of their rookie contracts. I think
yeah.
Travis is definitely going top three. So if Shador don't go top three, it's just he just going to fall. But I don't know where he would land. Like I said, it's just for me, it's too many quarterback needy teams in that top 10. So if they don't take him, it's really hate because Cam Ward's gonna be gone. They're gonna definitely pick him first or second pick if they don't pick Shador. So if you coming up or staying where you are to not draft Shador, it's a lot of hate involved in that.
Yeah, I
So
don't
I
I
don't
don't
know.
see repeat teams in the first round.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
but that's not to say that somebody couldn't trade the rest of their draft and move back up to the first round.
Mhm.
So I don't know. I think that ending off once again that Shedeur Sanders should be one of, if not the top quarterback drafted in this draft class. Um, and there's a lot of teams that could use his services. And I believe everything he says in regards to changing culture. I believe what he says, and he's not coming in and saying he's gonna be a Hall of Famer day one. That's not. He's never said that. He said, "I want to come in, I want to work hard, I'm gonna do what I got to do to show you who I am." And I think that once again, if these GMs who still have jobs after drafting a Zach Wilson, like, there's no way you can't look at Shador and say like, I can go get this kid and he can help my team be better, no matter who you are. And there's a lot of teams once again that need that kind of help immediately, immediately. So yeah, man, that's all I got to say about that Shador piece there. But I want to also ask you about this because, like I said, we have some more things to talk about with this combine. One thing that the NFL combine is known for, and every year people are always watching it, is the 40. And so this year with the 40-yard dash, there was one particular young man by the name of Isaiah Bond who played this past season at the University of Texas, who came into this draft speaking on his former teammate, and actually he might not be his former teammate, but his former classmate because they went to the same school. His former classmate and Texas alum, Mr. Xavier Worthy, who set the NFL 40-yard combine record last season with a 4.22 40-yard dash. He said, Isaiah Bond, I'm faster than that. He said that I am going to come into this particular NFL combine. I'm going to break that record. And he said he's going to run. He said he's run faster than a 4.22 before. And he said he's going to come into the draft. He said, and he was very confident. He said, I'm going to break it, and I'm going to break it with under a 4.2, is what he originally said. Then he said, I'm at least to hit a 4.2. Oh, 4.2 flat. Well, young man, the time did come for him to come to that 40-yard dash. And that young man did not did not run a 4.2. He didn't run a 4.3. The young man ran a 4.4. I think he ran like a 4.45 at that. So, man, how y'all feel about Isaiah Bond? Because I said he was bogus. As soon as I saw him run, I said, oh, you're bogus. Because he ran not once. You get 2 attempts to run his 40-yard dash. And neither time did he run anything sub 4.4. So tell me about how y'all felt about the Isaiah Bond comments. Was it just cat? Was he just trying to get people to watch him? Because even if that was the case, I think he did a bad job. Because now I think you capped out, and I don't want to draft you as much. But yeah, tell me what y'all thoughts on Isaiah Bond and that whole little piece of the 4-yard dash.
Yeah, I ain't believe it even when he said it because I feel like even with Xavier Worthy, like you could see that speed on the field. Like there
Yeah.
was some times where Xavier played, he's like, oh yeah, he's the fastest player on the field. I've never felt that with Isaiah Bond at Alabama or Texas. So when he said it, I was just like, nah, I don't believe that, but I'm a watch it. So he did the combine a favor, but low key, I feel like this is why people don't like participate in the combine because I feel like he probably did run a 4.1 under quote unquote unofficial time with his own
Yeah.
stopwatch and stuff like that. And I feel like that's why a lot of people are trying to gravitate more towards the pro day so that they can get their own times. Because next week with the pro day start, you're gonna
Yeah.
see some tweets where people, oh, he ran a 4.15, he ran a 4.23, and it's like, why didn't you run it at the combine then? So
Facts.
I think this is kind of just a litany of all the problems that are happening today when it comes to not doing the combine and just, doing your own stuff instead of the combine drills.
Yeah, he bogus. Like Collin said. Yeah, I never saw it on the field either.
Yeah.
To where he was just like blazing past anybody.
Right.
Yeah, he caught some deep passes. Yeah, he went across the middle, made some catches, but nothing crazy on that level of running a 4.2 or 4.29, whatever it is. But
Yeah.
yeah, shout out to him. He's still gonna get drafted.
Oh yeah, he still get drafted. But I think
Probably
he's
be
trying to
what,
stop.
second round pick, maybe.
He might be a third
Maybe.
round pick. But he might be a
Yeah,
third
but
round pick now, bro.
I don't know.
But he wasn't even the fastest wide receiver on his team at the combine. Like
Oh,
Golden ran a 4.3.
yeah. Hey, buddy
So
should have
like,
stayed at Alabama, man. He should have stayed at Alabama.
I mean, yeah, I can agree with that.
Chase the NIL bag, man.
Hey,
I get it.
I mean,
I mean,
it
he
worked
would
out,
have
it
still
worked
been a
out
wide
well for him
receiver
now.
too.
But I say, huh?
He would have still been a wide receiver too at Alabama with
Yeah,
Ryan Williams. So
that's true. That's true. It worked out well for him, no Hundo, because now he gonna have to use that NIL bag that he got to substantiate his draft plummet that he forced upon himself. Once again, I don't feel bad for you. You were making the odds and these things happen to yourself. I can't feel no kind of pity for you. So,
Hey, he
hey,
better go crazy at the pro day. That's all I
he
can
gonna have
tell him.
to. He has to. I mean, he should be running every day until that pro day. Like not a day should go by he's not practicing. You ran 2/10 of a second slower than you said you would. And if you know track, if you know speed, that's crazy. That's crazy. Because 2/10 of a second is tough. 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 So yeah, man. That's all I got from the combine per se. I will be dropping my mock draft soon. I've been doing my scouting on the Ravens. What we need. I'm waiting for free agency to begin next Wednesday. We'll have free agency beginning of the tampering period. It's called legal counsel period or something crazy now. It's a tampering period. That begins on Monday on the 10th. So we'll be able to kind of see going into that free agency what really is going to be needed for the teams. Now I can only speak for my team, the Ravens. I'll be dropping my mock draft soon. I got some inside scoops of what we could be doing here in the coming days with our free agents that are going out currently and who we could be re-signing. I got a pretty good idea who we're going to be re-signing and who needs to go ahead and walk. So with that, I'll be able to make my mock draft and I'll probably give y'all like the first 3 rounds. I'm probably not going to give y'all 7 rounds because we got 11 picks. And it's kind of hard to gauge past the first 3 rounds. So I'll be able to give you at least the first 3 rounds of what I think the Ravens should get and who we will get coming into next month's NFL draft. And also, man, I'm making this breaking news. I ain't even talked to the guys about this, but we'll be live first round of NFL draft. So y'all tap in with us and watch the first round of NFL draft with us live as we go over these picks, man. At least for the first half of the draft. Hopefully I can talk about the Ravens draft pick too. But at least for the first half of this draft, I think we're gonna go live, man, and give y'all some good content so we can talk about it and give our analysis in the moment. Spot on. So yeah, stay tuned for that. The NFL draft is next month, April the 24th through the 27th, if I'm not mistaken. Or it could be 25th through 27th. One of them 2 days. And we'll be here. We'll be live. So y'all tap in with us. And like I said before, I don't have my mock out to give y'all some analysis of what I think the Baltimore's going to do in this draft so we can continue to be better in this upcoming season. Speaking of being better, and speaking of free agency, which starts once again next week, big news, big trades, big free agency, big franchise tags as well. So let's get into those as we get ready to wrap up for the evening, man. Sticking on this, first big thing that happened, Deebo Samuel, he had requested a trade out of San Fran. I personally didn't think that it was going to get accepted from GMs and from the ownership. However, he has been traded to the Washington Commanders. Not only did they trade him, they traded him with inside the conference. Talk to me, fellas, if y'all would briefly do, because we also have some other players who are requesting trades and things like that. Deebo's trade request has been approved, and he's been traded to the Washington Commanders pending the league beginning on March 12th. That's when it can become official. Talk to me about that trade. Talk to me about Matthew Stafford re-signing his contract to stay in LA. He was another player that had been talking about he wanted more money, and I didn't know if he was going to be granted that money in LA, being that he's 40, but he was. So talk to me about that. Talk to me about the Cincinnati Bengals franchise tagging T. Higgins. I thought that was an interesting move as well. And then, yeah, give me your thoughts on those moves. And I might have some more questions for y'all going forward. But give me those thoughts on those three things that happened in the, well, two of them in the NFC and one in the AFC. Talk about if those are needle movers for those teams in Washington, in LA, and for the Bengals in the AFC.
Yeah, a lot of big news coming out this weekend. The Deebo situation is kind of complex. Like, I think the situation with San Francisco ran its course. Obviously, they probably gearing up to pay Brock Purdy, so it had to happen. So I don't think there was any bad blood with either party. For Washington, I think it opens up their offense. Obviously, if you're going to use him kind of like they did with San Francisco as like a wide back, it kind of opens up the read option. Obviously, you can stick him in the backfield. Obviously, with Terry McLaurin on that outside, it gives you another weapon. The only thing I worry about with Washington, though, is I don't know necessarily the verdict on Marshawn Lattimore yet. Just because it's still a year in, and even when they played the Eagles, like, he obviously got exposed. And these 4 seasons is like when you kind of have to strike while the iron's hot. Having a rookie quarterback. And it's gonna be interesting to see what they do after this year, because Deebo's has a year left in his contract, and so sometimes, like with a lot of teams that have the rookie quarterback, you can make a lot of bad deals, and it can kind of like bootstrap your organization where you did strike while the iron's hot, but you just did not. You took scraps and you gave them like it was treasure, and that's the only thing, is just making sure if you don't win this year, you're going to have to start making some hard decisions, because they already put Jonathan Allen on the trade block. And so you're going to need some defensive weapons. And so, in an earlier pod, I was telling y'all, like, they should go after Myles Garrett, right? Because, I think that Myles Garrett still is in his prime and still can make a difference. And if San Francisco was so eager to let Deebo go, like, I know you still have Ricky Pearsall and Brandon Ayuk, but Deebo is still a problem. So if San Francisco was willing to let him go, I just don't know necessarily if this is going to be everything that Washington thinks that they're going to get. So it's just going to be a waiting game to see how it's going to look. In terms of Matt Stafford deal, I think it was a good move. I mean, I think the Rams played them well. They were driving to beat the same team that blew out the Chiefs. So I don't think the Rams needed necessarily make any drastic moves, but I think if they sure up some pieces in the draft, like, Stafford's still a decent quarterback, and I think they only signed him for a year, maybe 2. And that's just enough for him to kind of go out, ride the white horse out, as you prepare for your successor. I know some other teams were involved, and I feel like I don't feel like Stafford was ever planning on leaving. I think he just used that as a leverage play in order to get the contract that he wanted from the Rams. So I think it's overall a good move there for both parties. For T, I don't know, man. I think, I don't know if T wants to be there, because I think T wants a contract. I don't think he wants to get franchise tagged. So we still have to see the moving parts. They might still trade him even with the franchise tag. And honestly, man, I got some reservations around the franchise tag as a whole, because I just don't think it's fair to the player. But ultimately, we're going to see how it looks, because I don't know if this is nearly a satisfied T. I think this is still going to be a disgruntled T. And I don't know how that drama is going to play in the locker room, especially because I'm pretty sure Jamar is going to get paid. We're going to see what they're going to do with Trey Hendrickson. And now you got Burrow paid. And I feel like T is feeling like the odd man out. So I don't know how those dynamics going to play in the next season. But I think overall, keeping him in-house temporarily is still better than letting him walk for nothing. So,
Question. With the franchise tag, right? Like how does it work specifically? Like, does he have to like sign it? Like, is it like a conversation, or is it just like the team is giving you this option and you have to come back type deal?
Yeah. So essentially, man, the franchise tag, how it works is like it varies for one per position. And it's set usually by like league standards of like who the highest paid is at that particular position. And so for instance with T, I think he was making like 20 something million this year off that franchise
He
tag.
said 26.
And like I said, it's based off kind of like with the standard for like top wide receivers at this current time. So like it's like we want to pay you, but we can't pay you. And so like, because we can't pay you, we also don't want to lose you either, because you're such a valuable piece to this team. So it's like essentially is It's like a 1-year band-aid, essentially. That's essentially what it is. It gives them opportunity, teams opportunity to say, we want you here, we want to figure out the situation, but because they want to leave, we don't want you to leave. This is a way to kind of like not necessarily force you to stay, but like force you to stay. If that makes sense.
So T couldn't have said, I don't want the franchise tag, or like I'm not signing the franchise tag, and like could have been a free agent, or no.
You can say no, but it don't matter. You would still have to like play. Like that's kind of how it works.
So it's like mandatory, basically.
Yeah, you're not a free agent yet. You're
right.
still under contract with that team.
Yeah, like he could sit out and lose out on the money, but like you would still he wouldn't have the option to like go, like Colin said, go anywhere and like try free agency and get any more money from anybody else. Now there is a different kind of franchise. There's two different kinds of franchise tags. I learned this with Lamar Jackson a couple years ago. So there's a franchise tag where it's either exclusive or non-exclusive. If it's non-exclusive, you have the option to go out and test the agency, and the Bengals in this particular case will have the opportunity to like match the offer sheet. And then I believe like they can like the team could offer you like 2 first-round picks, something crazy like that. Because once again, that franchise tag essentially says he's still with us, but if y'all want him and y'all want to pay him, cool. But we also get like 2 first-round picks from y'all, something to that effect. The exclusive one says, well, you can't go nowhere and do nothing. Like essentially, you gotta either play or you're just not gonna make no money this year. So those are really the options. I'm pretty sure both of the franchise tags this year were kind of just like they necessarily usually don't see that franchise tag come out unless it's a quarterback. That's the reason I even know about it. Because I mean those obviously make crazy money now as a quarterback. So in Lamar Jackson's case, didn't want to offer 2 first-round picks for him. And also pay him, because that's the thing. You still have to pay that person, and then you lose 2 first-round picks as well. So a lot of teams are unwilling to do that. So that's usually why that option is rarely used. With this particular instance with T, for me personally, as once again, this is my personal opinion, someone who watches the AFC North constantly, it's a band-aid for them. I mean, I think they know that once again they're gonna suck without T. Like it'll be a Jamar and Burrow versus everybody, and that's not gonna work out well for them. They have to have T to have any kind of, and they sucked last year with both of them, fully healthy. So I think that they know like if we lose T, they already probably gonna lose Tyler Boyd. So with them losing, if they were to lose T and they gotta pay Jamar, they gotta pay Burrow, like Collin mentioned. If it's just them two, it's not gonna be good because me and Burrow are just gonna double team Jamar, and then what you gonna do? Like they have nothing else. Burrow doesn't have an offensive line. Like it's just gonna get real bad. Real bad. It's gonna get even worse in Cincinnati. So I think for them it's like a help us out, please. But T wants to get paid, and as he rightfully should. Like he can go somewhere and honestly be a wide receiver 1 and get paid wide receiver 1 money. But the Bengals are not going to have that money, and I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me because now you're stuck in this cap situation, and you still got to pay Jamar because the thing with 1-year caps is like and Trey. But still, more specifically, Jamar. Jamar talking about almost $40 million a year. So if he gets that kind of bread, because I think that's what pretty sure Justin Jefferson makes, like $40 million a year, right? Something to that effect. Something pretty close, if I'm not mistaken. And Jamar won the triple crown last year. So he's more than likely asking for that, if not more.
When they could have paid him before.
And so that's my thing. Like, how do y'all feel about the franchise tag? Because I feel like you shouldn't be rewarded for bad ownership. Like in the NBA, obviously we know it's different because a free agency means free agency. They can go to any team. But like you just said, John, if I'm a wide receiver, knowing that on the free market I can get just as much money as some of these guys, and I'm stuck with this $26 million, I don't think that's fair to me as a player. Like I shouldn't be rewarding you because you didn't steward me properly.
Yeah, well, that's what you only are allowed to franchise. I think like twice, or maybe 3 times. It's like because they franchised Higgins last year because they couldn't pay him. Because they knew
it's only twice. That's
twice. Yeah, this is the last time that they can franchise tag T. Because they did it last year because once again, I think there was some different factors last year. Once again, they knew the Jamar Chase contract was coming up regardless. They knew that was coming up. They dug themselves into a deeper hole because not only did Jamar Chase win the Triple Crown, but T. Higgins also played good. So it's like not only did you not get a deal done in the season, but Jamar Chase also had a phenomenal season. So now like you're really stuck in between a rock and a hard place because like Collin mentioned, you still got to go pay Trey. You got to pay Jamar, unless you just want to play the franchise tag with him for the next 2 years after T. But the thing is, like, even with this new increase in cap that just has come off of the NFL this year, they're just not gonna have the money. So like, I don't know. It's not gonna work out well for the Bengals. I just think, like, to Colin's point, I do think that the franchise tag does definitely suck for the player in a lot of situations. Now sometimes it works. Like Trey Smith, for instance, who got franchise tag. There were only 2 teams this year that used franchise tag: the Chiefs and the Bengals. Everybody else is kind of like, nah, not this year. Chiefs tagged their guard Trey Smith. In his particular situation, I think he's making 20 or 30 million this year with his contract this year. Now for him, he probably not as whatever because it went against the Chiefs. So he probably just like gonna take it or whatever. But at the end of the day, like, these guys know that they're young and they can only make so much money in their career. So I want to make as much money as I can. So like, it sucks a lot of times when you play for a team that's like, okay, like the Bengals. Like, I just don't think that they're, and I've said this before. I mean, people had all this hype every year on the Bengals because of Joe Burrow, and it's like, they're not who y'all think they are. Like, I don't get it. But it's I think it sucks for T. I definitely think he should be allowed to go test the market. But once again, they're not gonna put the other side of that tag with him, because also nobody's gonna give you 2 first-round picks for him either. Because essentially what it does in retrospect, looking at Lamar Jackson's situation, is allows another team to come pretty much do the research for you, do like the market value, and negotiate with this guy, and then the Bengals could still come in and offer essentially the same thing that he's been offering somebody else. So a lot of teams shy away from it because it's like, I'm not going to do your work for you when you could have just did it yourself. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see what happens going forward, because like I said, this is the last year they can tag him. And he gonna play, because I mean, who's not gonna take 26 million off top? So he gonna play, but it's gonna be interesting to see, because it's like I said, they got to pay Jamar, or Jamar gonna walk, and he's a YN. He not going for that franchise. He just not gonna play. He gonna say, I'm not gonna play. I can see him doing that for sure. So I don't know.
Yeah, Jamar definitely not going for that. But I low key feel bad for T, because like, clearly he want to get paid. Like,
yeah.
It's almost like you holding the player hostage in a sense.
Pretty much.
Literally.
But I'm sure he probably like wants to be in Cleveland or in Cincinnati, but like, they don't have the money to pay him. So like, on one hand, it's like, I want to be here, but if y'all can't pay me, I want to go somewhere else. And now he doesn't have that option to go somewhere else. So at least not next year. So we'll see.
My thing is, like, they could have gotten this done if they would have been smarter early on. You knew you had to pay him early on. And I feel like they try to, like, even last year, they were getting rid of some key defensive players to gear up and pay people. And I was like, why didn't you just go ahead and extend Jamar last year? They waited. Now Jamar is going to be asking for way more than just the 40 mil, in my opinion. And you could have had the T deal done 2 years ago. It just didn't make sense.
But see, I think that's like the cat and mouse game, in a sense, of where like the players gonna bet on themselves, the organization gonna bet on themselves too. So like, if I'm an organization and I think I can get over on somebody by waiting, I'm gonna do that. They're not expecting Jamar Chase to go out there and win a Triple Crown. They're not going out there expecting T. Higgins to have a 900-yard season or whatever he had. Like, they're gonna bet on themselves too. So
yeah, but do you bet on?
I get it. They're not paying them, huh?
Like they bet it on both. Like, so you don't have any security plan.
Hey, man, hey. That's what a bet is. You risk that. It's a risk and reward with it. They bet it wrong. I mean, it happens sometimes. It happens sometimes, bro. I mean, shoot, it is what it is. Yeah, they look dumb now, but hey, who knows?
Yeah, it's gonna be real interesting, man, to kind of see what happens going forward with that joint, man. I'm telling you, it's that franchise tag is something crazy. But as we kind of mentioned earlier, with going back even with the Deebo and the Matthew Stafford contracts, man, it's like I don't know. It's gonna be interesting to see how those affect those teams as well. Like Colin mentioned earlier, the Deebo jump really kind of threw me because trading within your conferences to me is insane. Like you're really giving your comp like one of your best players. You know what I'm saying? Like that's kind of like the Browns trading Garrett to anybody in the AFC. Like why would you do that? Like even though y'all suck, y'all don't have any chances to do anything. Like still like helping somebody that you gotta face potentially anytime within your conference that can hold you back from getting the Super Bowl to me is like ludicrous. So like for the 49ers to trade Deebo to the Commanders, who also want to get in your conference and who are gonna give you comp because they don't suck anymore. Like this isn't like the 0-16 Commanders. Like this is a Commander team who was just in the NFC Championship last year. So like you're gonna have to see them if you plan on being good this year too. So and that's another story. Brock Purdy's their quarterback, so he needs all the help he can get because they also got Ayuk on the trade market right now. That's been circulating as well. So I'm kind of also questioning San Fran as an org right now. Like, what's the trajectory? What's the goal here?
But see, I don't know though, because like we were saying the same thing. I'm not making a direct comparison, but we were kind of saying the same thing about the Chargers. It was like, okay, why are y'all letting go of y'all's two best weapons on the offensive end? And both of those weapons didn't pan out. Like all I'm saying is with Washington, you could get a good Deebo, but San Francisco, I don't believe San Francisco's dumb as an organization. So they let you go for a fifth round for why? That's my question.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
well, I think it's better than him just being there, being unhappy, not playing potentially. You get something in return for a fifth. But I also think too, like for Washington, you gotta hope that Debo stays on the field. I
Yeah.
mean, you give up a fifth round pick, which I mean, Debo's better than any fifth round pick that they would draft. So
for
I
sure.
mean, it's not that bad of a trade, but you gotta hope that Debo stays on the field, stays healthy, and can contribute. But I
Yeah,
don't think it was a bad trade either way.
yeah. I don't think it was a bad trade at all. I think
Debo didn't want to be there, and
yeah,
you got IU potentially coming back. You got Jawan Jennings, you got Purcell, you still got Kittle, you still got
CMC.
McCaffrey. So
Yeah, but you also got
But
Brock Purdy.
my only thing though is like I hear what y'all saying. My only fear as a GM is this year now they don't have their third, fourth, or fifth pick because they got rid of like those picks with Marshawn and Debo. And so yeah, it looks like we're striking while the iron's hot, but like also too, Kansas City's success came from the fact that they just drafted well. Like they found a Trent McDuffie. They were able to find guys that added depth to their roster. And so
yeah, but
even
but
though
but
you
doesn't the Commanders have cap space? They got
Yeah,
money.
they got crazy
They
cap
got, they
space.
got, they
They're
got
not
money.
they're not
They
tripping
don't,
off
they
that.
don't
yeah,
have to build through the draft.
I don't know, man, because like even when you
They
talk
don't, they
about
only
cap
need
space,
one or
like
two pieces for real. If they go get an edge rusher or get a corner in free
but
agency,
who is
they
that?
good.
Who's the corner or who's the air rusher? I mean, they're gonna
Both.
trade again. They're gonna trade again for sure. For whatever they want. Yeah, they're gonna trade it. If they want like somebody good, they're gonna trade again. So there's not really like a lot of free agents that they can go get that are like gonna fit that what they need. But to Hunter's point, because of the cap, they can make a lot of things shake. So like the Deebo trade like doesn't necessarily hurt them in cap space wise, like in regards to like the draft process. Like they still got a first and second and a third round pick. Like that's really all you need, to be honest, is when you're in that kind of position. Like you don't need a copious amount of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like I think when you're a contending team, yeah, I think the draft helps you if you know how to draft. But like in the Commanders sense, like I mean they got lucky with Jaden and like now I can use that and like kind of build from there. So they've never really been a team that's like built crazy off the draft. Like they've just been hoping and praying like this might works out, and Jaden did. Um, so now it's like okay, I can go get a Debo. He's still got Scary Terry out there. You know what I'm saying? So Hunter mentioned, you go get you a solid role player. You ain't even got to get to Miles Garrett. Miles Garrett will be icing on the cake. But like you'll get you a Aziz I can't pronounce his last name. Aziz
Roger.
Alajari, yeah, him from New York. You know what I'm saying? Who was a productive defensive end. You know what I'm saying? Like and get you another corner. You know what I'm saying? They went ahead and got rid of Emmanuel Forbes because he sucked. And so they went and get you a, you know what I'm saying, a solid corner. let's go say they say they trade the Packers and go get Jair Alexander. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you make some things shake. Like, you right back in the game. You know what I'm saying? So the thing for them right now is just competing with the Eagles. That's their whole thing. I mean, they have no other competition in their division. I mean, the Cowboys not going to be good enough to beat them, and the Giants, they're actually not going to be good enough to beat them. So it's them versus Philly right now. And then you got to go now. I've already beaten Detroit last year, so you got to go and continue to compete with Detroit, compete with Philly, and that's really it. Like I said, you can see
But
it. Well,
hold on. Because like I hear you, but also with that, you're going to be playing a first place schedule. So
yeah,
it's not necessarily just beating those teams. And even with the Lions, like they're going to be like fully healthy, hopefully.
yeah, for
And
sure.
I mean, other teams are going to have lighter schedules that might, trump you in terms of standing. So,
Yeah,
like, we said this about Houston. We were like, oh yeah, Houston's going to be back, and then injuries and schedule it caused them to look much different than they did year one. And so, what I'm saying is like, yeah, it's cool to like make all these moves, but it's like you also going to need the depth just in case. Like, it's
yeah,
not a sure end that
yeah.
you're going to be back in the NFC Championship.
Oh, for sure. You definitely need the depth for sure. I mean, in Houston's case, I mean, still made it back. I feel like when you have teams like that, like the baseline is like different. Like I think, yeah, you start off crazy when you go to the NFC Championship. I mean, yes, that may be an organizational goal, but I feel like us as like people who look at the game a little bit differently. I think for me, the baseline would be like, now, yeah, once again, they're making moves to say, yeah, we want to get back to the NFC Championship. But for me, the baseline would be kind of what I held Houston to of like guaranteed playoff spot. Like that's how I view Houston. I never Houston made the divisional round last year, but I didn't see them like going any higher than this year, which they did. I mean, they went to the division round again this year. I mean, my expectations for them coming into this year was you have weak division, go in the division again, and we'll see what happens from there. And they did that. So I kind of have the same mindset for the Washington Commanders. The only difference is they're not in the weak division because they got the Super Bowl champions in the division. So like, at least, I mean, just come second place, go to playoffs, and then we'll see what happens from there. I think that's right now my threshold for them. So I mean, once again, yes, I know the organization is looking like championship, but we gotta be realistic at the same time. So yeah,
Hey, speaking of that division too, did y'all see that CeeDee Lamb restructuring his contract in Dallas?
yeah, I think they're trying to get Mike a deal done, bro. I think that's what's really happening. They just signed that defensive tackle to a crazy deal today. So I think they're trying to get Micah's money together. I think they're not trying to lose Micah. I think he was, had some rumors and speculation of trade block, but Jerry seems to be coming around in his old age and realizing that he needs some help. Now, Dallas's ceiling is always going to be Dallas's ceiling, which is, third place in that division right now.
Nigga
So
need to text. Nigga need to text Dak and be like, "Do you want to follow suit? Like, can you create some cap space too?"
I mean, yes, it should be. That's to be their next point of contact. But
I wouldn't do it if I was Dak.
I mean, no, I wouldn't do it either, especially since Miss Matthew Stafford just got paid. I mean, I'm not taking no pay cut. It is what it is with this roster we got right now. The Dallas thing, I mean, bro, it's Dallas, bro. It's Dallas. Like, it's
I mean, I hear you. I'm just like Matthew Stafford just made the NFC Championship, so like that can't talk too much. Like,
he won the NFC Championship.
didn't
He
it?
was in the divisional.
Who did watch it? Oh yeah,
Washington played.
Washington Eagles.
Yeah,
You're right. Yeah.
so it's like I said, I think they're trying to just stay in competition with Washington. That's their main thing right now, which is why they're trying to sign Michael Parsons back. Because if they don't sign Michael Parsons back or don't something goes awry, now you fighting for third place in the division every year. Like that's their portion. And it's like we're not trying to be like, we already know we're not gonna beat the Eagles in regards to like whatever, but we're not also not trying to lose to the Commanders. Like they was little bro for years. So like we start losing to them, it's really gonna be up for real. So I think Jerry, like I said, he's not trying to be, and he's never gonna be irrelevant because people are always just gonna be Dallas fans. But I think it's like in that particular division, let me fight for second versus fighting for third. Like relevancy status and playoff contention versus like I'm with essentially being looked at with the Giants. So yeah, I don't know. It's gonna be an interesting division to watch. especially if they make that Micah signing and the draft. Because Genty wants to go to Dallas in the draft. So like, do I finally start listening to these players that want to come to my team and help me out? Because Derrick Henry last year wanted to go to Dallas, and they never talked to him. Like he mentioned that several times. Like, yeah, I had intentions to kind of go to Dallas. He trains in Dallas. He has a house in Dallas, but they never got on the phone and called Derrick Henry. And we saw what he did this year in Baltimore. That once again, a whole totally different system. But Jerry was on the phone and talking crazy to me to saying we couldn't or wouldn't change the things around for Derrick, which is ludicrous. But Genty is now saying the same thing. So
low key though, like if the Giants can find a quarterback, like I don't know what Schottenheimer's gonna look like with Dallas, so I don't want to just rule out fourth place either too. So,
bro, if they come in fourth place after the Giants, bro, whether it was Shedeur or Cam in their first year, let me tell you something right now. Dallas fans are going to be on watch. You hear me? On watch. Oh my gosh. I can't even imagine what that's going to look like for them. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know how they could do it, but Jerry Jones would have to be exiting the door. He needs to go.
Facts. They gotta vote him out some kind of way. I know he got.
I don't know how they gonna do it.
Yeah.
But he gotta go if they finish fourth.
That's facts, bro. It's just no reason they should finish fourth in that division. So, yeah, it's gonna be interesting, bro. Like I said, with this free agency period starting up next week, we get an opportunity to see a lot of guys, man, to see what's gonna happen. We got free agency, we got guys on the trade block. Like I said, we don't know if Cooper Kupp's gonna get traded. We don't know if Jair Alexander's gonna get traded. We don't know if Myles Garrett's gonna get traded. Stephon Diggs is a free agent. You know what I'm saying? Like it's some guys here like it's worth watching and mentioning to see where they end up, because they could be some difference makers on some different teams. Of course, we mentioned this now. We didn't talk about this, but we kind of had some off-camera conversations about Devontae Adams has just been released by the New York Jets. Where does he end up? Aaron Rodgers, he wants to go somewhere. Does he need to? I can't answer that. My answer is gonna be no. But he could end up somewhere. So it's like, what happens with him? So once again, you got these difference makers out here that Keenan Allen, he's a old head who still got some ball left in him. So like,
he a free agent?
He a free agent, bro. Yep. So it's some guys out here. Yes, they're older for sure, but they can still be solid for somebody. So, like, and that's what y'all got on my head a couple weeks ago about me saying Cooper Kupp could, come to Baltimore and be number 3. But like, he doesn't have to. When I said that to y'all, I was saying that in the context of he doesn't have to be him anymore. Like, he doesn't. That's not what he like has to do anymore. Once again, that kind of went back to the NBA conversation we had earlier about like, you gotta have sometimes a young boy that can just let you breathe every now and then, but you can still come in and be productive. You know what I'm saying? You don't got to put the team on your back. Like Cooper is used to having to put the Rams receiving corps on his back, and like he was a Triple Crown winner. You know what I'm saying? Until he got a young bull, Puka came in and took his job. But
so why are they trying talking about trading
him? Well, I think that for one in LA, I don't know. I guess they just feel like his time in LA has run its course. But once again, he's older, Hundo. I mean, Puka has shown now that he's kind of taken over that lead role. Cooper, huh?
I say he could be a number 2.
He will be the number 2 in Baltimore. He will. Like, let's stop. Cooper's not going to be number 3.
Once again, bro, you know ball for the Colts, and that's okay. I'm telling you what I know about Baltimore. Like, he's not going to have to come in and be that guy. Could he put in wide receiver 2 numbers? I'm not saying he could not do that. What I'm saying is he doesn't have to do that. That's what I'm telling you. That's what I've been saying. I've been consistent in saying that the whole time. I'm not saying that he cannot do it. Yes, because he clearly can do it. He's still Cooper Kupp. However, then once again, like Hunter just mentioned, there's a reason LA's trying to get him up out of there. Like, if he was still like putting up consecutive 1,000-yard seasons, I don't think that he would be out the door. Like, that's just not his portion right now at this time of his career. But they've also the GM just recently left the door open for him to potentially return to LA after telling him, essentially giving him a goodbye message a couple weeks ago. So you really never know. But next week we have the opportunity to finally start to figure it out because the league year starts of 2025 going to 2026. So as we push
They
forward,
just wait.
and as we, huh?
I feel like they're just gonna wait in the season for a team to get injury plagued and then trade a first or second for them. So
There's no
they
way
know they're
nobody's
gonna
spent a first round pick for Cooper Kupp.
a late first, early second. I feel like a team that's desperate. We'll see.
Bro, they just traded Deebo for a fifth. You think
That's what I'm saying. But I'm saying in the season,
team would
into the season, a team that's desperate.
Man,
that's
who's
straight.
that?
Maybe
Who's that
At least the second.
Who's
At
that
least
desperate?
Nah,
No, I'm saying in the season, if you're a contender and you lose your wide
a
receiver,
third or fourth at best.
Facts.
That's fair.
Yeah,
That's fair.
Colin. First or second.
First or second is crazy.
Crazy.
That's fair.
Crazy.
That's fair. Dang, Cooper Kupp suck. Like,
No, my thing sucks, bro. But like, we got
he don't
listen
suck,
value.
but that's a high draft pick, bro. A first or
you're right.
second.
This is the
Yeah,
NFL.
bro.
You're right. You're right.
This
This is not
NBA.
basketball.
But he talking like, yeah, we have to give out 2028 first round pick for Cooper Kupp. Nah.
Man, we can't disrespect Cooper, man. Like, but y'all right, bro. Y'all right.
Hey, buddy thought he was Cooper Flag. You got the wrong Cooper, boy.
Yeah. That's what I'm telling you, bro. That's my whole point to you right now. Like, this is not that Cooper Kupp, bro. Like this, he's not the same one. Like, he's still good, but he's not the Triple Crown winner anymore. When he won that Triple Crown, this ain't the same Cooper. This ain't the same one.
Yeah, he not the same Cooper, but I don't think he a number 3 receiver either.
That's what I'm saying, bro. Like,
he not the same receiver, but he not a number 3 either.
Once again, y'all name me some contending teams right now that can use him as like a 1 or a 2.
the Chiefs.
Texans.
The Chiefs could definitely use him as a 1 or a 2 for sure.
Texans.
If they bring back Stephon, then what? Is he still 1 or 2 with Stephon on the team?
He'll be the 2.
Over Tank?
Bro, I think Stephon would probably move down, bro. No, honestly.
Hold on, because Houston, that's a good situation because they still got Nico, Tank, and what they bring back Stephon. You tell me Cooper would take Stephon's role at 3?
Yeah. I think so.
The Bills.
I am astonished by that answer, Hundo. That's interesting,
bro. I don't think they use Stephon Diggs as like a number 1 or like.
Oh, definitely not the one. I mean, Nico and Tank were filling that role heavily, but Stephon also towards ACL like week 4, 3, pretty early on in the season. So like we also never got to see his full potential in Houston, which is why he's kind of up in the upper right now, like if he's gonna come back or not. So
yeah, I don't think he'll take Stephon's place, in my opinion. But I think he'd go to the Bills.
Oh yeah, the Bills. I mean, yeah, obviously that's different. Hey Hundo. Oh, that's different.
Yeah, hey John, I don't want to hear that from you.
What? About what?
He's the number 3.
In Buffalo? Nah, y'all know how I feel about Buffalo. It's not even necessarily Buffalo as an organization. It's really just we're not gonna get back into this again. But yeah, he could definitely go to Buffalo and do what he wants to do. Oh my gosh, I mean half his way. I mean, give him the keys to the kingdom because Amari Cooper's gone.
Hey, would he be a number 2 in Minnesota?
No.
Jefferson
easily, bro. Addison and Jefferson. Come on, Hundo.
Y'all don't think Cooper Kupp better than Addison
at this stage of his career, bro?
In their offense,
that's what I'm saying.
I don't know. Me personally, I just see Addison as a deep threat.
But wait, hold on. Let me tell you why I disagree. When Jettas went down, it was either last season or the season before.
Word. Do not disrespect Addison.
Hooping. Like Cooper.
So do you think You don't think that Cooper Kupp could have done what he did
No.
when Jettas went down?
No.
Y'all don't think so?
No. Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, who y'all think Cooper Kupp is? That's what I'm trying to figure out right now.
No. I don't agree with Hundo's stages now at the Vikings. Like, he is not as dynamic as Addison, but I think a number of these contenders, he can be at least a wide receiver too, bro. At least.
All right. Oh, okay. So who else? Who else? Where else could he be a number 2 at?
The Broncos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are they
we
contenders?
talking about contenders.
Yeah, we talking about contenders though.
I said contenders.
We did say contenders.
Are the Broncos?
I mean, it's only a couple contenders, bro. Like he's for sure not with the Eagles. He's like,
could he go to Detroit B too?
Nah, you got Jameson.
That's what I'm saying.
See, bro, like I think he better than Jameson, bro. I think Cooper
Who do you think Cooper Kupp is?
Bro, I think he's better than
the more you talk, Hundo, the more I'm sided with John. Because you
Hey. I feel like y'all just going off the age, bro. Y'all got age discrimination going on right now, bro. Word, bro. Y'all hating on the old man, bro.
Bro.
Y'all discriminating against him.
Bro, the Lions are set. He will be an addition. Like,
yeah. Did you see Jameson Williams last year? Did you see how productive he was? Forget him being a deep threat because he was more than that last year.
Hold on, John. Do you think that he would be the number 2 with the Eagles?
No, bro. No. No.
Okay, so you have Devontae Smith.
Bro, I think Devontae Smith is better than Jameson Williams and Addison. Clearly.
Yes, I agree with you.
Yeah, but the question is, how much better do you think? Like,
right.
Oh, I think he way better than both of them, bro. I don't think either of them are that dynamic of number 2s, bro. That's why I said Cooper Kupp could come in and be a number 2 for those 2 teams. That's why I said
put it in the comments. Put it in the comments right now. Could Cooper Kupp go to Detroit and go to Minnesota and take Addison's job at 2 and Jameson Williams' job at 2 in those respective cities? Put it in the comments right now. I got to hear this. And when we're gonna clip it up. We'll put this on TikTok and Instagram. I'm reposting it. I'm gonna add y'all. I'm gonna say, can Cooper Kupp go take their jobs? I gotta hear what the people say about this.
Wow.
Because I'm perplexed that you have this mindset that Cooper is going to either one of the places and taking the number 2 job.
We got to get a list of Hundo's number 2s because
I got to, bro. I got to. Because he just said they suck, essentially.
Yeah, like Devontae Smith's good. Don't get me wrong. I think he's the best out of that, but it's not far out, bro. Like Jordan Addison's the dog.
Yes.
Like, stop.
And once again, Jameson Williams is his name. He had a crazy season last year in Detroit, bro. I mean, he was really productive. He had multiple games and multiple touchdowns.
You say Jameson of that team put Cooper on, and Cooper's not having that same impact. I'm sorry.
He's not. Because he's not a deep threat like him, for one. But even outside of that, but he was taking reverses to the house from 50 yards out. Like, in the rounds. Like, it's crazy. Okay. Running the whole route tree. Like, he really had a productive year, too. No drop-off.
I hear you.
I had to pull up some numbers real quick. Man.
We gotta end it on that note.
Hey, them boys had better numbers. I'm looking at the numbers right now.
Yeah.
But look, if Cooper Kupp played the amount of games that they played, his numbers would have been better.
Here we go.
Oh, here we go. Ding, 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 ding.
So in the show, man. Right? We're not getting in this rabbit hole tonight, man. Hundo got the goalpost on his back.
Yeah, he really does, bro. He really does.
Hey,
he does, bro. Because that's the same conversation I had earlier about the NBA, bro. You can't stay healthy because you old, bro. Like, it's not the same no more. It's just not the same.
Is that the reason?
You told me this. You told me this all the time. What's your best ability, Hundo? Availability, nigga. Exactly, nigga. So if you can't play for me, how can I give you a job as the number 2 and you playing 9 games? All right, I'm done. Let's end it. Listen,
played 12.
Huh?
He played 12.
Man, we appreciate y'all tapping into the Winning Shot podcast this week. We know we're going a little bit longer than usual with our, banter and ranting. But we appreciate y'all sticking around, tapping into the episode. We love y'all. Continue to tap in with us. Patreon, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter,
Upstack.
X, whatever you want to call it. Upstack. Listen, the boys writing some crazy articles. We're going to keep plugging it in each and every way we can. Share it with your aunties, your mamas, your daddies, your cousins, everybody. We want everybody to know about it. We want the Winning Shot podcast to be one of the top sports podcasts in the world, Craig. So we appreciate y'all once again for continuing to show us love and support. And we'll continue to put out good content for y'all. And prayerfully, hopefully, y'all continue to share, like, and subscribe. So once again, we appreciate y'all here at the Winning Shot podcast, and we hope to see y'all again very, very soon. And whatever Hundos be saying, cut that junk out. Peace.